everyone, and welcome to More Sewing with Michele. And on today's episode, I've got something super cool that all of us can use in our household, and that is a trivet. So I've got 3 different sizes to show you, as well as refills that you can order. They're so useful. I already know your brain's going, oh my gosh, I can use one of those, because I don't know anyone that can't. They can be used as a pot holder. They can be used to protect your furniture. Believe me, trivets are so cool. And I love that we can take something, use our own fabrics, and make something super useful in our house. Or you can make it for a gift. Perfect gift for all those new brides out there. So the trivets are from Around the Bobbin, and let's get going so I can show you more. So I already told you a little bit about what today's episode is about, these wonderful trivets. What I haven't told you yet is Around the Bobbin is the company that created the pattern for these, as well as included the silicone in their pattern. So you don't have to, it's not one of those patterns that you're going to have to get the pattern, get all the materials, go try to find the silicone. It's included in the instructions in the pattern, and I absolutely love that because you and I both know if we had to go find some silicone that fit the right dimensions, that would be super difficult. So the owner of the company, Lisa Amundsen, she thought of that, and she's included that, and isn't that just a wonderful little additive to these patterns, as well as she knew that once you start making these, someone's going to come over to your house and they're going to see, oh my goodness, look at that table. You've got the casserole on this really cool trivet. Where did you get it? It matches your curtains. It's got cool fabric. And she knew, Lisa, the owner of the company of Around the Bobbin, that you're going to want to make more than one, especially on some of the sizes. So she has the original pattern, but then she also has refills of just the silicone. So it's perfect. Needless to say, am in the same boat. I know when my mother comes over, she's going to be like, I need one of those. So it's just a perfect fix. So you can get the pattern, and you don't have to rebuy the pattern. You can just get a refill for that silicone. And I'm going to show you all of that a little bit later. But let me talk a little bit about the company Around the Bobbin. Now, it was started back in 2011, and Lisa Amundsen lives in Minnesota. And she started off probably like the rest of us. She started off doing counted cross stitch, and she graduated into other sewing, as in sewing in drapes, children's clothing, making bags, and she absolutely loves to make home decor items, which she has made several patterns for all of these things throughout the years. So I thought it was the perfect marriage of a function and decorative, and I love trivets, and they're so useful, as I've said. So let me show you real quick. Let me get the pattern. So this is the refill, and I want to show you just how cool this silicone is. So with the refill, you're just getting the information, but the silicone is super thick. Super thick. It's got these raised areas to really help protect. I love it. And it's super easy to sew on with her patterns because it has this area all the way around left open for you to sew. Now, you may think that you're going to need to have special feet for your machine, but believe you me, Lisa has thought of that. And I'll show you a little bit in some of the videos where I'm actually sewing it together. It's really cool. And she's thought of so many different techniques and different ways to make this super cool. So this little thing, this silicone that we know is super useful now in our kitchens, we're going to make some wonderful trivets. And we have 3 sizes. We have a small, we have the large, and then we have the extra large. And like I said, the extra large is perfect for casseroles, protecting your table, whereas the other 2 are easy enough to use for grabbing hot things from the oven, or even cold things. If you're sensitive to cold, this is also the perfect thing too. So it's going to protect you either way. You can see the 3 sizes there, and I've got some videos as far as how to put them together. So let's get going on showing you what to do with these wonderful trivets on Trivet Time for more sewing with Michele. So before I start showing you the videos, I just wanted to go over the patterns. So we have the pot holder, which this one is the small size. So perfect for lots of different things. But the great thing about this one, it actually has instructions to make an envelope part where you can stick your hand in. And that way it's versatile for two different things. And then we have the large size, which will hold different things. It also has the same instructions to make it like a pot holder. And then we have the extra large. Now this is how the packaging comes. Once again, what I love is this really cool silicone. And I loved the design on it. It's an orange peel design. And on each of the different sizes, the orange peels graduate a little bit bigger based on the size of the hot pad or trivet that you're making. So you're going to get that in there, and then you get all these instructions. And let me tell you, her instructions, Lisa's, are really good. So you open it up, you have very clear and concise pictures, which I find super useful when you're trying to put something together, as well as instructions and diagrams. So there's not going to be anything where you're scratching your head later and wondering, what am I trying to do here? And I love that. I can't tell you how many times I've bought instructions or a kit to make something, and I'm stumped halfway through going, what? So I love it when people take the time, and I don't know if they have someone else read the instructions or if they're just really good at making instructions, but it's always easier when you have something that you go, oh, okay, that's what I need to do next. Her instructions are very good. And on the back here, you see that she has all the information on making it as far as what fabrics. Now, additionally, what I needed was I used, instead of just using the batting, I did use the R&K hot and cold fleece for the batting part. That's completely up to you. I figured it's just one more layer of protection. You're going to want to have coordinating thread, and then you're also going to want to have wonder clips. So that kind of goes over it to make these. Now let me get going, and I'm going to show you a video on how I did my fabric selection.
Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about fabric selection. I am going to make, excuse me, the hot stuff trivet and pot holders in all three sizes. But I wanted to have something that coordinated but wasn't exactly the same fabrics. So you can see I have the extra large, I've got the large and the small. Let me get those out of the way. Now I have them laid out, and basically what I like to do is I like to audition my fabrics. Here's the fabrics I ended up picking, and I'll tell you, it took me probably more time to pick the fabrics than it's going to take to sew them together. But it was important for me to have the fabrics work well together for my kitchen area and have it be fabrics that I love. So what I did was I picked a large scale fabric, a medium, and then something that was a little bit smaller, so that on my trivets, you can see this is the smallest size here, and I've got the smallest print. And then I have the medium that has a little bit bigger print. And then I have the extra large, which is probably going to get the most use in my house, and that has a very large print. Now keep in mind you want to have high contrast. So I first decided that I was going to have red be the base because in my kitchen I have red accents. Then that's where the fun came in, digging through my red fabrics to find something that would be pleasing to me and work well together. The first thing that I pulled was this fabric that I bought. You know, I can't even tell you where I bought it. I know a lot of you are just like me, but I fell in love with the fabric. Same thing with this, and they just work together. Now, I have a philosophy, as long as they work together, and tie in the yellow, yellow, yellow. This one's got the green throughout. It's got the black and it's got the red. I love it. And I love pulling fabrics that shouldn't work together that somehow will work cohesively together. To tie them together, I have, this is for the flange and this is for the binding. So that's my plan for the fabrics. And now I get to get stitching and put them together.
So once you get your fabric selection, it goes really quick from there. Keep in mind that I cut 2 pieces of the desired fabric, one for underneath the silicone and one for the backing. But that's completely up to you. You could literally have a different fabric on the inside and the back side. You can also piece or have a quilt block under there. The potential for these little trivets are really endless. You could really jazz them up. And keep in mind that they also have the instructions if you wanted to make a loop to hang them up. It all depends upon what your kitchen is like and where you're going to use them. On mine, I opted to not have that because I don't have really any place in my kitchen to hang up any hot mitts or hot pads or even trivets. So I like to have them flat. That way I can store them. And then I'm going to have another video here real quick to show you some of the stitching and some of the other things. But, oh my goodness, I think you can already see the potential and the possibilities for these trivets in your house. Let's go with the next video.
Okay, so as you can see, I have attached the fabric underneath the silicone. I have not done the additional stuff, but what I'm doing is I'm adding these flanges, and super easy to do. Now I do have a really strong and powerful machine that I sew with, but one of the better things that are going to be to help you with this are these wonderful binding clips. They make this super easy because obviously you're not going to be able to pin through the silicone very easily. So I basically start it, remove it. I'm sewing just a little bit of a distance away from the side, and I'm just attaching the flange. I'm trying to talk and sew at the same time. So you can see this machine has no problem going through all the layers as well as the silicone. So I'll take it and you can see now this was simply done by adding a piece. Let me find my additional piece. I basically sewed this. I did a very quick basting stitch and then I folded over, and that's what I just did. So you're going to get that flange all the way around. The next step is to attach the batting, which I used a hot and cold from R&K, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But you'll attach the backing to that. Let me see if I have one here. Oh, look, I have my two. I have the small one. You can see that fabric. I've got that all the way around. And I also have attached the backing, which you can't tell in this picture, but I have gone ahead and just did a grid stitching pattern on that. And then the medium size one I have here. And once again, on this one, I'm doing a little bit different on the back side of all of them. The last one, the large one, I'm actually doing free motion stitching. So you can see right now, this is the way that they're done. Fabrics coordinate, but different. And then this large one is significantly bigger, which I love. Perfect for casseroles. So let me go ahead and get finished, and I'll show you a little bit more in a bit.
So I know you're hooked. I know I was instantly. So in order to purchase these wonderful patterns from around the block to make these trivets, you're going to want to go to moors-sew.com, or you can click on the link in the description that'll take you to the More Sewing with Michele landing page. Either way, it's up to you. Don't forget to use your coupon code for this month so that you can get additional savings on these products. So you can pick up any of the designs we have. This is for the small size trivet and pot holder. We have the large size trivet and pot holder. We also have that extra large, and keep in mind for all three of the sizes, we have refills. So you can pick up as many extras that you need for all your families and friends. Don't forget also that you may want to pick up the hot and cold barrier fleece. And if you don't have Wonder Clips, you're going to want to pick them up because this actual sewing without Wonder Clips, I don't know how you could get it done. You can't pin through very easily with the silicone because it's super thick. So you need those wonder clips to keep everything aligned and together so that your fabric and the silicone behave while you're sewing. And that's about it. Now, on to the next video.
Okay, so I'm on my last one, the big one. I showed you how I was adding those flanges before, so you can see that they're all there. I do want to give you one little tip. So this flange would be open. I just add a little securing stitch to make sure that all of these flanges will stay flat. I think that's going to help when we put it together. So I've gone ahead, and this is the backing piece. You can see I've done stippling around it. And now all I'm going to do is to simply add it to the back side here. I'm going to just simply kind of line it up on one side like so. And I'm just going to simply, I keep saying simply because I'm trying to make this as not complicated. Sometimes when I read instructions, I get a little bit confused. I know what the final is going to be, so I'm going to use my little clips again because these are the perfect thing, because I cannot pin through that silicone. And I'm going to add it to the one side here. And then all that I'm going to do is I'm going to do a securing stitch all the way around. So I'm going to do the two sides, making sure that I have them clipped on nice and securely. And I think once you get the two sides, I think the smaller sides you're not going to have any problems with. So I'm not going to worry about clipping those. And oftentimes I do my things a little bit bigger anyways. So I'm going to go to the side here. And keep in mind, this is with multiple layers of fabrics. I've got the hot and cold barrier from the fleece from R&K in there, as well as the silicone. And I'm just going to simply do a basting stitch all the way around to secure everything together. And taking my time. Now my machine, I'm very confident with this machine's ability. It's a brand new one out on the market. It's my new baby. His name is Donald. It is my Continental M17. So as I said, Donald here, my new baby, has no problem sewing through. But if you do have problems, keep in mind, some of the tricks are go slower, make sure you have the appropriate needle for this project. I would suggest a jeans, anything that's higher. You don't want to use a 7511 because that's pretty basic. So bump up your needle so that you have one with a very sharp point. That's going to make it easier to sew through this. And my Donald's doing a great job. So once you get this completely done, as you can see, I've done that second side, and now I'm going to simply continue around. Get that one out. I have one more side to do. And this was definitely one of the projects that I wanted to show you as far as how I'm sewing it. I know that I wish everything that I did, I had enough time on these videos to show you from start to finish, but that's just not the case. But this one I wanted to show you a little bit more closely because it does have that silicone, and oh my gosh, it is so pretty. I cannot wait to get these finished up. So I'm going to go ahead and trim around my little extra pieces. I am not going to add the little hang-up tabs because what I'm going to use them for are definitely for the protection on the table. I'm not going to use them for the oven. I'm definitely going to use them more as a hot pad type of thing. So I'm not going to add anything to hang them up. But in this pattern, especially on the small one here, it gives you the instructions to make a little holder and also add the little hook. So you have that ability. I'm just not going to do that for mine. And then the only other thing that I switched up is that I have mine right sides together on my fold, and then I fold them over. I did not see any need to have on the back side any of the flange. So there, you know, I always look at the instructions, I read them, I kind of analyze what they're trying to have me do, and then I go from there. So let me get going. I'll add the binding, and then I'll get back in touch with you guys.
So once you get that together, the last steps are simply to add the binding. And you can add the binding whichever way you feel comfortable with. There's different ways of adding binding. I did the mitered binding on all of mine. Sometimes I don't like that extra bump and bulk when you do the fold over and you have an area that you slide it into. So I actually mitered my edges on all of these. You can see the backing. Oh my goodness, I love the backings. And on all of them, like I said, I did a little bit different stitching techniques on the backing. But these are them. So fun, so useful, and such a great accent around your house. I really want to thank Lisa Amundsen for coming up with them, and especially having the silicone included in the kits. It's such a plus. And that's about it. That covers it for today's More Sewing with Michele. I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day and stepping away from your machine to watch me and to see what I have to offer for you today. Don't forget to go to mores-sew.com and use your coupon code when you purchase all of these products today. I hope you have a fabulous afternoon. I will see you next time on the next More Sewing with Michele. Until then, bye-bye.